We national tendency. We national tendency. Seskepas. Apaselusta. We national tendency. We national tendency. We national tendency. We national tendency. Where? We are here to make our opposition clear today. Amanda! EFFL! Where? We are here today to give our position. Where? Mami wata. I say Mami wata.
folks, if you just joining us, welcome. This is a news conference that the Freedom of Liberia is about to speak to the media to tell the Liberian people where they stand as it relates to the upcoming Save the State protest that is scheduled for June 7 this year. So today we're going to be listening to them. Officially, we're going to be getting their official statement. We're going to be getting their official statement today where they stand regarding the upcoming protest. So this is just a bit up. It is a bit up to the protest. That is the news conference. It is a bit up. The news conference. The CRC of the Economic Freedom Fighters is about to hit the building, and this is a welcoming that we're doing right here, going to bring the CRC, and that's Emmanuel Gonkoy. Emmanuel Gonkoy is of this team. So share with others. Let them watch it. That's Emmanuel Gonkoy right there with his followers. So anytime from now, you're going to listen to Emmanuel Gonkoy speaking to the Liberian people. Any moment from now, he's going to be speaking to the Liberian people regarding the upcoming protest. So if you want to know where they stand, don't miss this live broadcast. Be with us because you're going to get the information. So there we go. I will never wait for the Mama if you want to fire me again. I will never run away from the if you want to fire me again. I will never run away from the all the way. Mama no if you want to fire me again. I will never run away from the C'est quoi? Emmanuel Gonkoy, c'est quoi? C'est quoi? C'est quoi? Integrité, c'est quoi? C'est quoi? C'est quoi? IFK, c'est quoi? C'est quoi? C'est quoi? IFK diaspora, c'est quoi? C'est quoi? C'est quoi? CRC, c'est quoi? C'est quoi? C'est quoi? Il y a même manger, c'est quoi? C'est quoi? C'est quoi? C'est quoi? NPC, c'est quoi? C'est quoi? Amour! Amour! Amour!
EFFL. Aluta. Continue. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow fighters, you can have your revolutionary seats as we are about to begin this all important, long-awaited, and desired press conference. At this very critical junction, we would like to start with our protocols, beginning with the Commander-in-Chief, the Economic Freedom Fighters of Liberia, for the startup.
Well, fellow fighters, as in tradition, we will officially call this session to order. But remember, a few days ago, CRC met and took a decision. So, and as a leader, I took seize of the matter to do more consultation. And after the consultation, we are here to convene another session. So we will call on a member of the CRC for a motion to undo previous decision we took in CRC meeting for a new decision.
EFFL! Having been given this privilege to make this important motion, let us all remember that a week ago, or if not mistaken, the same week, the Central Revolutionary Council of the EFFL met here, and we met there for the purpose of making a decision as to which way the EFFL will go. Whether to support the June 7 protest or not to do so. We deliberated for some long period of time, and just as the CRC stated, that matter was seized. And so it is incumbent upon us today to revisit that decision, having heard from the CRC based on the consultation that were made by him. Today I have come, as Vice Chair of the Teachers Forum of the EFFL, to say that when men meet and when men decide to rethink their decision in the interest of the state, it is important to do so. And so the EFFL will never be a coward in this movement. And so we have come here today in our name to undo what was previously done. That the EFFL will today have a final say from the mouth of the CRC. And so having gone through all of this, I now made a motion that will return to status quo as usual. So the CRC can make the final decision on that.
So the motion was raised and seconded, meaning our previous decision not to support the protest has been cancelled officially. We now open the floor for second motion to endorse the protest. Yeah.
As official spokesperson of the Women Command of the Uncompromising Economic Freedom Fighters of Liberia, I've come in my regalia, prepared to endorse the statement made by my powerful CRC, the most powerful man in the country right now, the Commander-in-Chief of the Economic Freedom Fighters, to endorse this and move forward. CRC.
It been seconded. So officially now, the media can get ready to hear our response.
Amanda! Away! Amanda! Away! Comrades, members of the Central Revolutionary Council, members of the National People's Assembly, so, members of our diaspora chapter who are currently following this auspicious and long-awaited occasion, so, I bring you revolutionary, bountiful greetings from the epicenter of consciousness. That is the Economic Freedom Fighters of Liberia National Headquarters. It is obligated upon every Liberian to stand for the cause. Today, our press conference was centered around a major decision that will drive our country forward with conditions. Let's make it very clear. Our press conference today, a decision will be taken based on major conditions that which our CRC, the integrated CRC, will provide those conditions based on our protest or agreement today. At this very critical junction, we would like to, from the angle of the Office of the Press, Publicity and Media Committee of the Economic Freedom Fighters of Liberia, again re-emphasize emphatically that the EFFL remains uncompromising, we remain unbending, we remain unchanged, we remain unapologetic to the interest of the masses. In a much that this government, headed by Mr. Weah, cannot account for proper governance. His feet is going to be to the fire until Liberians get to know their country's status. The lives of the Liberians must be changed. Our people's lives must be changed. The status quo of our country must be changed to the betterment. Notwithstanding, I would like to again reduce my very height, although it is a privilege, not a right, to introduce one of Liberia's powerful sons, one of Liberia's best brains, one of Liberia's youngest talented revolutionary advocates. I'm about to introduce to you a man of impeccable character, a man who stands for the cause, a man who sees every Liberian to have the equal share of opportunities from our national cake. So, I'm about to introduce to you not a big-bodied man, not a man that has muscles, not a man that has the big body and big voice, but he's a man with wisdom. While I was in flight, comrades, compatriots, we witnessed the arrival of some of our national vice chairs of the Economic Freedom Fighters of Liberia, impression of Honorable Edmund Tatos Barclay, the National Vice Chair for Next and Political Affairs of the Economic Freedom Fighters of Liberia. While we're also in fact witnessing the arrival of some other CRC members, that is the National Vice Chair for Operations, along with the Secretary General. With much ado, I would like to reduce my height, and welcome to the podium Honorable CRC Integrated Man Emmanuel Bonkwe. Amanda! 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 Where CRC about to speak? Where? We must listen to him. Where the official position of the EFF will be announced. Where? Amanda! EFFL! Aluta!
Let me say thanks to the Deputy Secretary for Press, Publicity and Outreach. Let me at this time also welcome the Vice Chair for Inter-Party Affairs, former Representative Honorable Taito Bagley, the Secretary General, the Vice Chair for Operations, the County Commander, District Commander that are here present, the Vice Chair for Women Affairs, the official school president of the Women Command, and all other fighters here present. Let me say thank you for coming to the occasion, and as well as the full estates. After a few weeks of consultation with international organizations and stakeholders in Liberia, we are here today to officially announce our position on the June 7 protests. Weeks ago, we came here to our office and members of the CRC, which represent the Central Revolutionary Council, took a unanimous decision not to support the pending June 7 protests. Was as a leader, knowing the fundamental reason why the Economic Freedom Fighters of Liberia was established, we decided to take seize of the matter, to revert to consultation, and have meeting with diplomatic corps, and have discussions with international organizations, including the International Justice Group and other friendly government institutions that are here in our country. We came up after our many consultations with a conclusion that we will only participate in the pending June 7 protests based on the following condition. The one, we will not prematurely alter the democracy of our country, that we will do nothing to subvert the gains we have made in terms of maintaining the peace of our country, because doing so will only injure the very poor people that we are speaking for. The organizers of the protests, in yesterday's official position statement, agree with us and agree with some of the concerns that we have raised, that this protest will not be about subverting the peace we have gained or prematurely altering the democracy. Therefore, the Economic Freedom Fighters of Liberia, we just inform the general public and the international body that as of today, we will do everything in the trenches, we will do everything across Maserado to raise the expected numbers that will show to the world that Liberia is on a path of bad governance, and that there is a need for us to show to our friendly governments and international organizations that we are prepared to change the status quo.
Amanda!
Away!
Amanda!
Away!
EFF finally endorsed the protest. Away!
Away!
Amanda!
Away!
Amanda!
Away!
June 7 protests have been endorsed with condition. Away too.
Away!
So we will.
Long live, long live, long live the EFF, long live!
Long live!
Long live, long live the EFF, long live!
Long live!
Long live the CRC, long live! Long live, long live the members of the EFF, long live!
So you can go back to your various communities, informing the generality of the people that beginning tomorrow morning, the EFFL will begin a massive mobilization leading towards a successful June 7 protest. Again, we want to say that we agree that some of the people who are front runners of the protests lack the credibility to talk about protests, but we will not compromise the general interest of the people on the basis of few criminal personalities that have been seated or that are placed on the Council of Patrons.
C'est quoi? C'est quoi?
For them.
Intégrité, c'est quoi?
C'est quoi?
C'est quoi? C'est quoi? Intégrité, c'est quoi?
C'est quoi?
C'est
For
quoi?
them.
C'est quoi? They must return the status quo. Intégrité, c'est quoi?
C'est quoi?
EFFL cannot compromise that integrity with some plan. C'est quoi?
C'est quoi?
For them, they can be told that even the fact that we have endorsed the protest, that we will be working seriously to mobilize the people to turn out, they can be assured of our misa. That we will direct some of our misa to them. Because a few years ago, they were in government celebrating the looting of our state. They were in government when we criticized some of the decisions taken by previous government. They were calling us hooligans. How come today that some of them are beginning now to talk about protests when in the past protests were never accepted by them? So they can be assured that in a march that we are going to work together in ensuring a massive turnout come June 7th, we will not hesitate to expose them and to take fundamental issue with them and to criticize them for their previous history. They can be assured of that. The other thing I want to say is that people sat down by themselves
Expose them, EFL, expose them. Expose them, EFL, expose them.
People sat down by themselves few days ago, created a myth that I, Emmanuel Gunkwe, leader of the Economic Freedom Fighter, took $8,000 from Lehman Bowie to compromise the interests of the people, and that I was on my way to South Africa. I don't know, when I previously visited South Africa, it was Lehman Bowie who gave me money. It is unfortunate that we have a group of people in our country who have been on characters assassination, but we will not dignify them. The reason why we will not dignify even those who speculated that we receive money is because some of them have medical deficiency, and they only need to go to hospital, and the EFFL will not hesitate to help them to take them to hospital. Because for a rational being to even insinuate that a man who doing Mr. Sally regime refuse opportunity from Mr. Sally, refuse opportunity from government official, refuse bribery, stood up for the country. With only, even the car I'm riding was not worth $8,000. And people will conclude that I took $8,000 to compromise the interests of the people. Can $8,000 satisfy the CRC members? How many person in the CRC that would divide $8,000? But you see, because the government is not providing medical care to our people, most of our people are beginning to suffer from medical deficiency. So we will blame that propaganda on the fact that our hospitals are going through challenges. So we will not dignify nor to call their names, but we will help them. If they need be, if they can bring themselves over, we will only help them to take them to hospital for that allegation.
Zayo! We will take them to hospital. Zayo! Zayo! They are men. Zayo! Zayo! They are men. Zayo!
We know. We know that our country is going through turmoil. We know Liberians are crying from their bed for daily survival. Even if you open the social media, if you see everywhere, Liberians are complaining. Difficulties everywhere. Hospitals are shutting down. Even the University of Liberia is contemplating on cancelling the free tuition.
Sure.
We know difficulties across the country are enormous. We cannot ignore the fact that our country is going through challenges. For us who stand for not political freedom, because in our philosophy, we believe that political freedom without economic freedom is meaningless. Our forefathers, Kwame Nkrumah, Nelson Mandela, and the rest of the other great revolutionaries in Africa fought for political freedom. The economic freedom fighters is not fighting for political freedom, because Liberia has always and has already experienced her share of the political freedom. We go to election permanently, we elect our leader without election violence, but the issue is no more political freedom. What we are fighting for in Liberia is total economic liberation of our people.
Zayo!
So we, the progressive, did not achieve this. So we will not compromise this philosophy. We will not compromise this agenda. Not for even $1 million. We will do everything. We will do everything in our power to ensure that this government lead this country with sense of belongingness. What happened to Mr. Weir and his band of incompetent government officials is that they are not leading the country with a sense of belongingness. There's deep-up lack of patriotism. So what we would do continuously at EFFL is to indoctrinate them, let them begin to love our country. Because the only way we can deal with the challenges, fundamental challenges in our country, is when we begin to love our country. I don't see George Weah as a person who loves our country. I don't see the government official as a group of people who cares for our country, because they are making some terrible decisions that we here in the small building will continue to counter, because we want the better for our country. We believe that the June 7 protest, before I conclude to take questions, we believe that the June 7 protest, after that consultation, will be peaceful. But let me sound this caveat. If the government believes that for Liberians to come out to express that dissatisfaction about happenings in the country is unlawful, for which they will have to pay some of the malnourished young people who do not have future and who have not meant enough to sit and redirect their energy to redefining their life. If the government would give them money, because I know George Weah and his group, they don't have the popularity any longer. You can see the office across Lone Star Cell. Every time they are having event, the compound is overcrowded with vehicles and human beings. That party is fast diminishing. You know, when you look at the CDC, you look at the CDC like a plum. You know, when you pick a red plum, pull it in the bucket, and if you don't eat that red plum fast, that red plum becomes to be decaying gradually. So the CDC has lost popularity. They have lost control over the masses, and we are claiming control over the masses. That's why, because of our silence on the June 7 protest, you saw people calling for all around the world, asking for the EFFL opinion. Today, Liberians around the world can go to bed sleeping that we have officially endorsed the June 7 protest, that beginning tomorrow morning, and thank God the county commander is here, the inspector general of the youth command is here, the women command represented, vice chair for inter-party represented, everybody here today, the district leaders are all here. As I conclude to take questions, it is a mandate. In the EFFL, we do not ask you for your opinion. We render mandate. When it is about mandate, we give mandate. We are mandating leaders of the uncompromising EFFL to begin flooding the social media today that June 7 protests will be historical, but June 7 protests will send a clear message to the world that Liberia is in the hands of a group of people who don't mean well for that country. And that's why even the United Nations is taking issue with them. But we will rescue our country June 7, not to alter, I repeat, not to prematurely alter the democracy or to prematurely alter the peace process, but we will send a clear message that we are tired of what is happening in our country and we need a solution. And that solution will be embedded in the thousand or the multitude of people that will turn out June 7. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, I want to pause here, and then if there's any question, we can take your questions and we can call it a day. Thank you so much.
EFFL! 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 At this very critical juncture, we would like to extend our heartfelt revolutionary appreciation, far-sightedness, and gracious decision to rescue Liberia from the hands of the incompetent. So, we are about to open the floor for questions. We are taking 5 questions. 5 questions only. When you are recognized, you call your name, the entity you represent, and ask your question. You are the very first person.
My name is Younger Orlando. I work for One Media Incorporated. I got a few concerns. Sorry. You talked about people accusing you of taking ground, and you said they are, if I may quote you correctly, they are medically deranged. And you say you would not call their name, but I'm interested in you calling the names of those who said they corrupt and they are part of the June 7 process. Secondly, aren't you worried that you will be affiliating with people who you already know that they are non, quote-unquote, non criminals? Thus saying the adage, show me your friends, and I will know who you are worried.
We have already called the name of one. We have identified Sano Dazo Johnson as one of the persons morally unfit to lead any protest in the country. And we have asked our intelligence bureau to gather more names on the Council of Patriots, and we will continuously expose them, because for us in our DNA, we don't do business with criminals. So every time we go for a meeting, we will distance ourselves from them. We will never share the same table with them because we believe they are morally unfit to lead a protest. Yes.
My name is James Flomo. I report for Scar FM. In your previous statement, you talk about working with people that are corruption free, and looking at your institution, you are standing up for the freedom of economy, and you are now going to work with people who are not clear in terms of the economic freedom you are seeking. And you say you're going to distance yourself from the table. What are you going to achieve if you distance yourself? Is it going to make this protest to come to reality? And next to that question is, How are you going to rescue the state from this government?
Well, like I said to you, we will not sit. Remember when we went to Belekasa, after our meeting with the government on the bring back our money, government official requested that we do photo. Normally I say to people we are not handsome, so we are not good on photo. So I don't do photo shooting. So we refuse to do a photo shoot with the government officials, and we let Belekasa. So I'm only saying to you, see, when we go to the meeting for the protest, I'm sure the table is going to be long. So the EFFL will not sit on the side of the criminals. We will always sit on the side of the table because we don't want to do business with the criminals. So we will sit on the side of the other table. That's how we're going to do it. On the issue of rescuing the economy, the country, you see, when we offered our support to this protest, we can only assure you it's going to be massive. This is what's going to happen. The previous governance style will change beginning June 7. Immediately after June 7, the president will be left with no alternative but to make radical decision. If you cannot make radical decision, it means that you can be rest assured. As we have said continuously, the EFL will determine the presidency 2023. So he can be in that bracket that says, I'm only a one-term president. He can be assured that he's a one-term president because we will determine the presidency come 2023. If at 2020 next year, you can also be assured that we will determine who goes to the Capitol building. That example is what you will see in June in Kagata. The people in my community are beginning to warm up for a massive turnout during our first year anniversary, which the media will be invited.
Good afternoon. My name is Lawrence Kamara and I work for Red Power FM Province City. In terms of security assurance, what's the assurance that Liberia have on the day of the protest?
Well, security assurance, thank God we have the Army Chief of Staff of the EFFL here. We have also mandated him to prepare the EFFL Army to provide security. And I think the police director can attest to this because every time we carry out a protest, we have our security deployed. So our Army Chief of Staff, who I think in my mind is qualified more than some of the people in the security apparatus, will work along with the unqualified individuals in the security sector to prepare the way for a successful protest. That's what I can say.
Yeah.
My name is Never Jilobo and I read for taking the info. I remember doing the other protest, Operation Save the Judiciary. You make a pronouncement that you were going to somehow campaign those who will actually affect their signature to the impeachment proceeding of former Justice Janet. You're going to campaign against this. So are you still standing on that decision?
But I just told you that we will determine 2020 because we already know that we have a group of 21 criminal senators in the Capitol building. We have identified them. So beginning next year, they should know that they are all former senators.
How are you going to do that?
I said to you, we are moving to Maigibi in June. In June, we are going to Maigibi, and you will see for yourself that a seafood or human being will be on the street parading as an example of what we will do to get all of the criminal senators out of power.
Okay, we'll take the last question. Okay, yeah, thank you for the recognition. My name is Hafnas Foley. My question is the CRC. He have been all on social media that compromised by holding 8,000 now. And now you have come out to demystify that claim. Now, what do you expect from the public after the press statement? How do you think you're going to react? And secondly, you're talking about the area going to the Capitol building, especially in the front of the Senate. Now, there are bill pushing by representatives at House talking about salary or benefit reduction. What is the area stand on that? Thank you.
Well, again, like you said, we spoke about people who would accuse us. The reason why I'm not placing more emphasis on them, I said we hold the government accountable for making our citizens to suffer from mental deficiency because the government is not providing medical care to our people. So those who take that, and even those who insinuated, they all form in that same bracket because no rational person will even insinuate that I will take 8,000 for minimum vote. So you can only have some mental problem to insinuate that I took that. So we're not going to dignify them. We lead them to help them. You see, we want to receive them and take them to the hospital so that we can help them. concerning Akara Great Bill, you see, it is wrong for you to steal somebody's idea. Akara is an intellectual criminal. People cannot. He was not the one that proposed that. There were people in the Senate who started the advocacy along then to reduce the salaries of lawmakers. So if Akara will at this time introduce idea that somebody introduced in previous time, then it means an intellectual criminal. So we don't want to dignify him.
All right, that does it for the question and answer period. Members of the full testing will say thank you very much. That's the teacher of the economic freedom. Thank you.
Hey, what's up? I already. Hey.
My bad.